So good evening on and all. So in today's session, we will be discussing principles of effective stress. Fine. So what are the two important principles of effective stress? Before that, let us see what is effective stress. We all know that, suppose I just magnify the soil particles. So these are all the soil particles placed one underneath the ground surface, right? So this is your soil. So in between soil, water is present. Your pore water is present. This is soil particle and this is pore water. So what is effective stress? And this effective stress principle was given by Arthur Sagi, who's father of soil mechanics. So whenever you apply load or whenever you apply pressure on the soil, so that's an external pressure. Sigma is being applied on the ground surface. That pressure is being transferred through particles. So there will be number of particles. Each particle will take that load and it will transfer it to the particles at the deeper layers. So this transformation will keep on happening. Okay. So what is effective stress and what is pore water pressure? So those two things we have to consider. Actually, whatever the principle proposed by Carl Stessagi on effective stress has two parts. The first part defines what is effective stress. So definition of effective stress is taken from the first principle. And the second principle states what is the importance of effective stress. ఎందుకు soil mechanics లో మనం effective stress గురించి చదవాలి. So as I told, the load sigma or the pressure sigma is applied at the ground surface and it is getting transmitted. So this sigma load is taken by the soil particle as well as by the water. Okay, so the stress which is transmitted through the soil particle is effective stress, and the stress which is taken by the pore water is known as pore water pressure. Okay. So, and what's the relationship between this total stress and this effective stress and pore water pressure? Pore water pressure. So total stress, whatever you apply, is equal to, or total stress, whatever is acting, because we are applying pressure and stress is happening because of the resistance offered by the soil, right? So your total stress is equal to your effective stress plus pore water pressure. Okay. So consider that the soil is in fully saturated condition. So fully saturated ante there is no air at all or there is no void left empty. So fully saturated condition. So only soil particles and water is there. So your total stress is equal to effective stress plus pore water pressure. So what is effective stress is equal to? Your total stress minus pore water pressure. This is one of the major finding of this science. Okay. And it's one of major turning point in soil mechanics, I could say. So let us see in terms of definition. What is effective stress? Effective stress is the stress transmitted from particles through their point of contact throughout the soil mass above the plane. Okay. So one particle is there. So this particle transfers that stress which was taken by it to the particle next to it. And this transfer happened through their point of contact. Okay, ఈ పార్టికల్ నుంచి ఈ పార్టికల్ కి ఇలా ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ అవుతూ వెళ్తుంది. Okay, so this is being transmitted through the soil granules. అందువల్ల దీన్ని ఏం చెప్తారంటే it is also known as intergranular pressure. Why is that called effective stress? because this stress is effective in decreasing the void ratio of soil. So why? In the sense, whenever the load is being applied on the soil, effective stress increases. When the effective stress increases, see, if stress in the soil is increasing, so what happens to its particle arrangement? So you got a bag and that bag is full of balls. And if you try to press that bag, what happens? There is one bag, okay? So a bag or sack, whatever it is. So inside that number of balls are there and you are trying to press it. So the bag will undergo kada. So what happened to those balls inside? So those balls will be stressed. So what happened to the gaps which are being present initially? Could you understand? There is one bag and the bag is full of balls and you are going to press that bag. So what happened to the empty space which was present initially?
Gaps will be filled.
Gaps will be filled or gaps will be reduced, right? So as Manju is saying, the gaps will reduce. So void ratio decreases. So this effective stress is effective in decreasing the void ratio and also it mobilizes the shear strength. So since it is effective in decreasing the void ratio and mobilizing this shear strength, the name effective is being attached to it. Okay. Then what? And you know what? This effective stress is just an abstract quantity. So there is no apparatus to directly measure effective stress. Always you could measure only total stress and pore water pressure. And effective stress can only be calculated. So sigma dash is always calculated. It cannot be measured physically. Okay. So sigma dash is equal to sigma minus u. So whereas total stress is a measurable quantity, even pore water pressure is a measurable quantity. So whenever you attach a piezometer to your apparatus, you can measure the head of water. So from the head of water, you can actually calculate pore water pressure. But this effective stress is not like that. So you can only get it through this calculation. Okay. And what is pore water pressure? Let us see. So pore water pressure means pressure transmitted through pore fluid in soil mass. And it has another name called neutral stress. So why is it called neutral stress? దీని ఎందుకు neutral stress అని చెప్తున్నాను అంటే it will not take any shear stress. So for any liquid, shear strength is 0. Tau is equal to 0. కదా? So tau is equal to 0 for any liquid. So that is why your pore water pressure is called neutral pressure because it will not take any shear stress. Okay. And another way of defining this pore water pressure is water load per unit area above the plane of consideration. So if you suppose this is your ground strata and if you consider any point, so water load at that point, suppose point A is here. So water load at that point divided by area of cross section will give you pore water pressure. So load by area is pressure, right? So here water load per area will give you pore water pressure. Okay. So why this effective stress is important and why should we study effective stress? As I already mentioned, this effective stress is effective in decreasing void ratio and also it mobilizes shear strength. A number of engineering behavior of soil depends on this effective stress. Okay. So your effective stress governs compressibility of soil. So what is compressibility of soil means? Reducing its volume by applying pressure. Adhe compressibility ante. And this compressibility has again two parts. What are they? Compressibility can
Com-
occur in very good.
Compaction and consolidation.
Very good. Compaction and consolidation. So if air escapes, it is compaction. And if water escapes, then it is consolidation. Right? So in well, for causing this compressibility phenomena, you must have some knowledge on effective stress, right? And next one is shear strength. So your shear strength of soil also depends on your effective stress and permeability. Actually, permeability is not that related to effective stress, but indirectly permeability is related to effective stress. So I'll give you a simple example for compressibility relationship with effective stress. So last session we have seen how to calculate final settlement in soil. So using compression index. So CCH by 1 plus E naught log 10 sigma naught plus delta sigma divided by sigma naught, right? So for calculating settlement of any cohesive soil layer or clay layer, this formula is used. And for applying this formula, you should know compression index actually. So in this formula, you can see the dependence of consolidation settlement on compressibility, on effective stress, I'm sorry. Okay. So here sigma naught is the stress and this stress is also effective stress. Okay. So sigma dash is generally considered. Okay. So this formula shows the direct relationship between effective stress and compressibility. Right. And when effective stress increases, as you can see here, when the effective stress increases, what happens? Your soil gets consolidates, no? That's one relationship. And next one is shear strength of soil. So actually we did not cover this topic yet, but still you might have studied in your regular class session. So your tau is equal to C plus sigma or sigma dash tan phi. So either you can use effective stress in this formula or total stress in this formula, depending on the field condition. So here also it shows the dependence of shear strength on effective stress. Right. And permeability. How permeability is relevant to effective stress? Actually, it has no direct relationship, but in the very beginning, I told you that when the effective stress increases, void ratio decreases. Okay. So when effective stress increases, void ratio E decreases. So when void ratio decreases, what happens to permeability? Permeability void ratio తగ్గుతుంది అప్పుడు permeability ఏమైంది permeability see when effective stress increases your volume or void volume is decreasing so void ratio decreases so what happens to permeability
Increases.
increases see previously this big gaps are there in the soil mass okay so because
Decreases.
of applying pressure the void spaces has got reduced okay so now permeability decreases in the context the passage is reduced okay so obviously the permeability is getting reduced okay passage for the flow of water so are you guys okay with the definition and application or importance of effective stress so now we will see how to derive the formula for effective stress okay see consider this as ground surface okay and at some depth so let A be that point and you wish to find out or you wish to calculate how much is the effective stress at that point with respect to that point and this point A is at the depth of H from the ground surface right so how to calculate effective stress so first tell me how much is the total stress So sigma is how much? See here, there is no load acting above the ground surface. Only overburden pressure is acting. Why? In the sense, if I take a very small granule of soil at this point K, so what is acting above the soil? So all this overburden, right? So ఇక్కడ అంత soil ఉంది. Am I right? So throughout this place, soil is there. So all this soil will create some load for the soil granule or soil particle at the point A, right? So this is taking all the overburden. So not only this particle, all the particles in the at the plane A. So ఇక్కడ ఒక ప్లేన్ తీసుకున్నామంటే దాని మీద ఈ పైకి ఉన్న లేయర్ లో ఉన్న సాయిల్ తో మొత్తం లోడ్ యాక్ట్ అయ్యింది. సో let us take W as the weight of soil which is acting on this plane. Okay. So let us calculate how much is your pressure. So your sigma is equal to how much?
W by A.
Very good. So W by A. So load by area. Kada? So this is your pressure acting. So now tell me, in soil mechanics, once we go to field, we cannot measure W. We can only measure unit weight of soil. Okay. So gamma of soil is being measured. So how to know or how to rearrange this equation in terms of gamma? Here weight is there. So just rearrange this equation in terms of gamma. What is weight is equal to? Or what is gamma is equal to? W by volume, right? So W by volume. So now W is equal to gamma into volume and వేయచ్చా? So here gamma into volume divided by area, right? So gamma is here and what is volume? Area of cross section into height and so area into height, because h is the height of the soil mass above this plane, right? So divided by area is equal to your sigma. So cancel this A and this A. So what is sigma is equal to? Gamma into h. So this is how we got the formula for total stress. But from Terzaghi's effective stress principle, we know effective stress. So sigma dash and sigma bar and okate. Okay. So just for the sake of third year students, I am repeating this. So sigma dash or sigma bar is equal to sigma minus u. Right. So sigma is being calculated already. Now I need u. So in the figure, whatever I have drawn, I did not give water table. Suppose water table is situated over here. Okay. So how much is the weight of water acting at this point?
Gamma sat into volume.
Gamma sat into volume. See, water table is acting over here. So this entire soil is in saturated condition. So how much is your U I am asking? So let us derive that one also. What did I mention previously? Water load divided by area of cross section in Japan. So water weight ni for your convenience sake, let me take it as W అని తీసుకుంటున్నాను, weight of water divided by as usual area of cross section. Okay, see here U is only water load. So water load ante ema cheyali? I have to take unit weight of water, no? So similar to your sigma, I am trying to rewrite U also. So unit weight of water into area of cross section into head divided by area of cross section. So this A got cancelled. So U is equal to gamma W into H. So shall we write it in our effective stress formulae? So gamma H minus gamma W into H. See, if water table is here, what happens to your unit weight of soil? Gamma minus gamma W into H. So what happens to unit weight of soil? See, water table ikkada undi, appudu ikkada unna soil ante emayyiddi? All the soil
Saturated,
will
ma'am.
be in a saturated condition. So your unit weight, you have to take the unit weight corresponding to saturated condition. Okay, so this one will become gamma saturated. Okay, so your effective stress formulae. Effective stress is equal to gamma saturated minus gamma W into H. So saturated unit weight minus unit weight of water is equal to what? Submerged unit weight into H. With it as, just make a note of it. You can write like this or else you can retain it as such. So coming to this effective stress thing, there are lots of derivations are there, and it is like it is better to learn this effective stress along with problems. So that will give you better understanding. So as of now, are you guys are clear with the effective stress formulae and the pore water pressure formulae and total stress formulae? Shall we move further? Okay. See, I'll just give you a simple points to remember, I could say, right? So in detail, we will see once we solve the problems or after solving the gate problems for today's session. Okay. So have you ever studied the term capillarity? Capillarity. So capillarity means rise in water level inside a thin tube because of which phenomena? Due to surface tension. Kada? So in soil also we have number of pore spaces. If those pores are arranged one after the other, or if those pore spaces are continuous, then you will be having a thin tube formed. So in that thin tube, phenomena of capillarity is being observed. So let us take the ground surface as usual. Right. And suppose imagine you have water table somewhere over here at a depth. Let this depth be H1. Okay. And if you consider some soil, or if you consider a plane which is at the depth H. Okay. So what is the influence of capillarity on the effective stress of soil which is present at the plane? So ఈ plane కి ఏమైనా పేరు పెడతాం, A అని తీసుకుంటాం. There is one cross section. Okay, so just imagine a cross section over here. Okay, so if it is confusing, don't, just imagine in 3D. Okay, as of now I am drawing it in 2D. So ఇక్కడ ఒక plane ఇలా exist అవుతుంది. Okay. So and we are calculating the effective stress at this plane. And what is the influence of capillarity because of what is the influence of capillarity on effective stress? Okay, so generally because of capillarity, all the water whichever is being present in the water table will try to rise through the pore spaces whichever is existing there, and through the continuous pore spaces the water level rises. Okay, so generally, remember, your effective stress and pore water pressure are quite opposite to each other. Okay, so when pore water pressure increases, then effective stress decreases. Okay, so even in sigma dash is equal to sigma minus u. So if your pore water pressure is increasing, suppose ఇప్పుడు ఇది 8 లో నుంచి 9 వెళ్తుంది, 9 నుంచి 10 అవుతుంది, ఇప్పుడు మీ effective stress ఏమైంది? It will be keep on reducing. Okay, whereas and always remember, because of generally water has the tendency to act in the upward direction, to flow in the upward direction, to escape out. Okay, because it will be having more pressure here and it tries to escape out, whereas because of capillary action, you will be having negative pore pressure. Okay, so your pore pressure is negative within this capillary zone, and here even because of capillarity, even above that your water table, you will be having a zone of saturation. Okay, so general ga మనం ఏం తీసుకుంటాము, below water table only your soil will be in saturated condition, and above water table it will not be in a saturated condition. Okay, here you will be generally considering bulk unit weight. So whereas here, because of capillarity action, you will be having a zone of saturation. Why? In the sense, because of the thin pores, the water level rises within the pores and they act in the downward direction. Generally, the normal water acts in the upward direction, whereas this water will act in the downward direction. Okay, so that's why we will consider capillarity as negative pore pressure. So now tell me, because of capillarity action, does your effective stress increases or decreases? See, generally, pore water pressure decreases your effective stress. కానీ capillary zone లో ఏమవుతుందంటే negative pore water pressure వస్తుందంట. So what happens to your effective stress? So because of capillarity action, very good. So due to capillarity action, your sigma dash increases, effective stress increases. Okay, so why? In the sense, you can even see here more amount of soil is getting saturated. Okay, so whenever you have a capillary zone of saturation, then effective stress increases. So this phenomena you have to remember. And another phenomena is seepage. So due to seepage or due to flow of water, what happens to your capillary action? So flow of water. So because of flow of water, what happens to your what happens to your seepage your effective stress phenomenon? See, whenever the flow is in upward direction, so while deriving formula for each and every case, we will see how is it increasing and how is it decreasing. Okay, so flow can be in upward direction or it can be in downward direction. So downward direction means from the top, the water will flow within the soil layer. Okay, and the upward flow means just like your quicksand condition. So let me draw upward flow. So because of the presence of a reservoir here, and if this reservoir is connected to your soil, and this reservoir has water table over here, and here you may be having an outflow or flow of water in the upward direction. Okay, maybe if you connect a piezometer or something, okay, there will be a head difference, and if you are having an outflow of water, right? So your flow will be in upward direction. So through the soil layer, so water is seeping in from the bottom and it is going out. So this is an upward flow. So in the same way, you can even have a downward flow of water also. So downward flow unte emaidi, upward flow unte emaidi. Okay. So just make a note as of now. So whenever your seepage is in downward direction, could you make a guess? Hello. When your flow is in downward direction, then your effective stress increases. When always remember, whatever is acting in the downward direction always increase the effective stress because they will become like a surcharge load. Okay. So అందువల్ల ఏం చేసిద్దంటే అది effective stress ని increase చేసిద్ది. Whereas if anything is in the upward direction, just like your pore water pressure, then they tend to decrease the effective stress. So upward flow unte decrease అయ్యింది, downward flow unte increase అయ్యింది. That is why because of this phenomena only we could observe quicksand condition. Right? So as of now, we have seen what are the principles of effective stress and what's the importance of effective stress and how our effective stress formulae are being arrived, and then we have seen relation between effective stress and capillary action and how your effective stress is governed by seepage of water. So now we'll see few problems. See, all the problems whatever I am discussing are taken from GATE 2020 question papers. Right. And we will see this problem in the end. Huh. Let's go in order. So first in initial classes, hello? Ma, could you able to see my screen? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
So this problem is related to water content. And this was taken from GATE 2020 question paper. A soil has a dry unit weight of 15.5 kilonewton per meter cube and specific gravity is 2.65 and degree of saturation is 0.72. Considering unit weight of water as 10 kilonewton per meter cube, how much is the water content of soil? Fine. So let's solve this problem and find the answer. So in this question, gamma D of soil is given, which is 15.5 kilonewton per meter cube. And they have given specific gravity, which is 2.65. And degree of saturation, S is equal to 0.72. And they have mentioned unit weight of water, gamma W is equal to 10 kilonewton per meter cube. See, generally I tell you that unit weight of water 9.81 అయినా తీసుకోవచ్చు, 10 అయినా తీసుకోవచ్చు. So whenever they specify unit weight of water, then use that unit weight only, especially in GATE. Why? In the sense they prepare key only for their given parameters. వాళ్ళు 9.81 పెట్టి కీ ప్రిపేర్ చేయరు, ఎందుకంటే ఈ ప్రాబ్లంలో కూడా if you keep 9.81, whatever the answer they have specified in their official key is not falling within the range. So always use the given parameters. Okay. And it is not actually wrong to use 9.81, but still they have emphasized it here. So go with that value. They are asking you how much is W. Okay, it's a direct question. Gamma D is equal to G gamma W by 1 plus E. కదా? So ఇక్కడ ఎప్పుడు G ఇచ్చారు, S ఇచ్చారు. Whenever these two parameters are given, degree of saturation and specific gravity of soil, you should always start with SC equal to WG. So if I wish to find out W from this formula, S is known to me. So I can substitute yes, and G is also given, and W is asked, E is unknown. So E kavalante, you go for the another parameter which is given in the question. Gamma D is given. So gamma D formula G gamma W by 1 plus C. So from this formula, everything is known to you, only E is unknown. So just rearrange this formula and get E value. Shall we do it? 15.5, 2.65 gamma W is 10 and 1 plus E. So 1 plus E is equal to 26.5 divided by 15.5. So how much is your E? Are you guys solving the problem? Hello?
0.7.
0.709.
709. Okay. So let us maintain it as such. So substitute it in your SE equal to WG formula. So here W is unknown. So SE by G, right? So S is 0.72 and E is 0.709 and G is 2.65. How much is your W?
0.19.
0.192. See, just go back to the question and see. ఇక్కడ bracket లో ఏం మెన్షన్ చేశారు in percentage round off to 2 decimal places. See, whenever you are in hurry, what you do is you will be typing the same numerals whatever you are getting. So that's totally wrong. 0.1922 is totally wrong. You have to report the value only in percentage. If it is your normal written exam, we will give you marks for fractional values as well as for percentages. But in GATE, it is not like that. Everything you have to be careful, and they will only in key also they will give value only for range. So plus or minus 2%, plus or minus 5%. అంత లోపల ఉంటేనే మార్క్స్ ఇస్తారు. Okay, so not for fractional conversion, percentage conversion, అవన్నీ కన్సిడర్ చేసుకోరు. Okay, so report W in terms of percentage. How much is that?
19.26%.
19.26%. So 0.19 is not wrong, but you have to report the value in terms of percentage. Okay, so it's a simple problem. Here you may make a mistake. That's why I'm telling you that. So is that okay? Shall we move on to the next problem? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
If you say yes, then we can move on to the next question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. So now we'll see problem on seepage velocity. A constant head permeability test was conducted on a soil specimen under hydraulic gradient of 2.5. The soil specimen has specific gravity of 2.65 and saturated water content of 20%. If the coefficient of permeability of the soil is 0.1 centimeter per second, the seepage velocity through the soil specimen is. Always be careful with the terms whichever is given in the bracket. So how many decimal places you have to round off and what is the unit you need to mention. Okay, so here they are asking you seepage velocity. So what's the formula for this is the formula for calculating seepage velocity. Vs is equal to V by N, your discharge velocity divided by porosity. So here V is also not given in the question and N is also not given in the question. So if you need N, then you see is the N is given? No, right? Instead, they have given the other terminologies. So in KMM icharu, I icharu. Hydraulic gradient I is 2.5 and specific gravity G is 2.65 and water content is 20%. Anyways, while substituting, I will be using in terms of fraction. So we convert it in fraction. In K-mixture, permeability of soil is given. So K is equal to 0.1. It is in terms of centimeter per second. In the end also they are asking me to report the answer in centimeter per second. So no need of any conversion. Okay. So now V and N are required. So if you need V, but you can go for Darcy's formula, right? V is equal to KI. Kada? So now tell me how much is V? 2.5 into 0.1. How much is V? 0.25 centimeter per second. Okay, so V is known. Now N is required. See, N is required, but here N is not directly given. Instead, they have given us G and W value. And N is asked. So, up the A formula go to your first chapter. SE, your relationship. Phase relation, three-phase relationships and all we have studied, right? So, SC equal to WG. And while teaching you permeability, that to constant head permeability test, I have insisted you that the test can be carried out only after complete saturation of the sample. After full saturation only you can conduct the test. So what is the degree of saturation of your soil sample inside your permeability mold? To get discharge out of the mold, your soil must be in which condition? Fully saturated condition. So your S is equal to 100%.
100.
కదా? So ఇక్కడ substitute చేసేటప్పుడు 1 అని తీసుకుంటాను. So E equal to WG. So what is W? 0.2 into 2.65. So tell me the answer.
0.5.
0.53. 0.53. Am I right? Okay. So, but for getting seepage velocity, void ratio is not required. We have a handy formula with porosity. So, appudu void ratio ochna, and if you require porosity, go for N is equal to E by 1 plus E. So, 0.53 divided by 1.53 will give me porosity. How much is the porosity?
0.34.
0.34. So, but we need seepage velocity. So, Vs is equal to, how much is V? We calculated previously 0.25 divided by 0.34. Tell me the answer.
0.735.
0.735.
0.735, right?
Yes,
They asked us to round off to 2 decimal places. So 0.74 is okay. Fine. Is it okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Shall
Yes,
we move on to the
ma'am.
next problem? So it's simple only, but you need to remember all the relationships. That's what matters. So this is over. Let us see a problem. It's a direct question. So during our flow through stratified soil, we have seen another question from GATE 2008 question paper. So there it was given an indirect question from this topic, but last year they have gone for a simple question, simple direct question. So permeability test were carried out on the samples collected from two different layers as shown in figure. The relevant horizontal and vertical coefficients of permeability are indicated for each layer. The ratio of equivalent horizontal to vertical permeability is asked. Okay, so they are asking you to find out KH equivalent for horizontal flow and KH equivalent, KV for perpendicular flow. So we have seen two kind of flows, right? You guys remember the topic. So if this is your soil layer, so one is along the direction of stratification, along the direction in which soil layer are packed one above the other. In another one, your flow will be perpendicular to your layers. Okay, if this is the direction in which your layers are oriented, so flow will be in perpendicular direction. Here you will get KV, sorry. So here you will get KH equivalent, whereas here you will get KV equivalent. So ఇక్కడ ఆల్రెడీ దీనికే KH1 KH2 అని ఇచ్చారు కాబట్టి ఈక్వలెంట్ అనేసి నేను K ఈక్వలెంట్ KH ఈక్వలెంట్ అని పెట్టుకుంటాను, KB ఈక్వలెంట్ అని పెట్టుకుంటాను. Right? So I hope you remember that formula, KH equivalent and KB equivalent formula. You remember?
Yes, ma'am.
See, generally you will get confused. KH దేనికి వస్తుంది, KB formula ఎప్పుడు వస్తుంది అంటే always KH is greater than KB. So you have to remember that, then you will not get confused. So let us write formula for KH equivalent. So KH is equivalent equal to, what's the formula? K1 H1 plus K2 H2 divided by H1 plus H2. Right? So directly substitute the values, you will get the answer. And KB equivalent is equal to H1 plus H2 divided by H1 by K1 plus H2 by K2. Because we have two layers, let's terminate the formula up to the second term. Can I show you the question? So just substitute the values and tell me how much KH equivalent is. And be careful with the powers. Why in the sense here KH1 is 10 power minus 3, whereas here KH2 is 6 into 10 power minus 1. So be careful while substituting those terms. And both the things are in terms of meter per second. So no problem at all. 4.4 into 10 power minus 3 into 3 plus 6 into 10 power minus 1 into 4 divided by H1 plus H2 is 7. Tell me the answer. The same way, for vertical
0.344, ma'am.
0.344. What is the unit? Meter per second. Right? Because it is given in terms of meter per second. So maintain the same units. So H1 plus H2 is again 7 divided by H1 is 3 divided by vertical direction 4 into 10 power minus 3 plus here vertical direction. So 4 divided by 5.5 into 10 power minus 1. Tell me the answer.
(9.24 into 10 power minus 3, ma'am.
9.24 into 10 power minus 3. So what is actually asked in the question? They did not ask you for horizontal permeability and vertical permeability. They were asking you for ratio. And in any question, when ratio is asked, go through the question again and again and see, is that ratio asked between horizontal to vertical or vertical to horizontal? So whenever they ask for any ratio, see A term first petali, A term second ravali ani chudandi. Not only in geotechnical engineering, in any stream or in any subject. Okay. So they are asking us to keep KH equivalent on the numerator and KB on the denominator. Okay, tell me the ratio. So your ratio is 0.34 divided by 9.24 into 10 power minus 3. Okay. So tell me.
37.22.
37.22. Okay. So that's the ratio. So it's actually a multiple choice question. Just take the answer. Who's here? A is the answer. So it's just a direct question. Shall we move on to the next question? I have another problem here. This is an easy question. It's asked for 1 mark question. So if you remember our consolidation derivation, then you can simply answer. One-dimensional consolidation test is carried out on a standard 19 mm thick clay sample. The odometer deflection gauge indicates a reading of 2.1 mm just before the removal of load without allowing any swelling. Void ratio is 0.62 at this stage. The initial void ratio of the standard specimen is how much? Okay. So how much I mentioned? Consolidation rings dimension 6 centimeter dia and 2 centimeter thickness. So 2 centimeter means 20 mm. So that is what they have mentioned here as 19 mm. Okay. Shall we solve this problem? So initially inside your odometer, your sample is there. Fine. And your sample, soil sample thickness, not the ring thickness. So soil sample thickness is 19 mm. Okay. And then the odometer deflection gauge indicates 2.1 mm deflection. So just before the removal of load. It means what? Your soil has totally consolidated under the given applied pressure. So it may be either 10 kPa or 20 kPa, whatever it is. So under the given applied pressure, your soil has totally consolidated and your reading is giving you a value of 2.1 mm. So deflection value is 2.1 mm just before the removal of load without allowing any swelling. Why? In the sense, the moment you remove the load, the soil will start swelling. And you know what? The void ratio at this stage is 0.62. So final void ratio. So this 0.62 is final void ratio. So final void ratio after total consolidation. So total consolidation under given load. So వాళ్ళు ఏం అడుగుతున్నారంటే initial void ratio is being asked. Okay. And what is this 2.1 mm means? This is 2.1 mm. So this is the change in thickness of the sample. Initial ga 19 mm on a sample, 2.1 mm taggindanta. So how much is the thickness of soil sample as of now? 16.9 mm. Am I right? So this 2.1 mm is delta H. So your delta H is 2.1 mm. Okay. And we know here no other parameters are given. MV, AV, nothing is given. So using this delta H and H, I need to construct initial void ratio. So delta H by H. So generally we consider delta V by V. since we are confining it in the lateral direction, so your delta V by V could be rewritten as delta H by H. So in terms of void ratio, how could we write this one? Change in voids is nothing but change in volume means change in void space or void volume. So delta E by, and we considered its initial volume as 1 plus E naught. So from this relationship, you can simply calculate. So delta H entama 2.1 and H is 19 mm. Since both are in the same units, no problem. So delta E is given. So change in voids is not being mentioned. Kani, what is change in void means? What is delta E? E naught minus E final అని తీసుకోవచ్చు or E hello, so E final or E at present ఏదైనా తీసుకోవచ్చు కదా. డెల్టా E అంటే ఏంటి? ఇనిషియల్ void minus final void ratio. Okay, so let me rewrite this as E naught minus E final divided by 1 plus E naught. So how much is your final void ratio? 0.62 kada, divided by 1 plus E naught. So in this equation, everything is known other than E naught. So simply rearrange it, you will get E naught. So 2.1 into 1 plus E naught is equal to E naught minus 0.62 into 90. So tell me the value. Hello. So otherwise, you can even divide 2.1 divided by 19 also. So which gives you 0.1105. దీన్ని కూడా rearrange చేసి రాసుకోవచ్చు. Anything is fine. Manju, are you calculating?
Ma'am, 0.820, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
0.82.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So your initial void ratio is 0.82. So ఇప్పుడు మీరు కొన్ని పారామీటర్స్ కూడా ఇది చేసుకోవచ్చు. Hello, you can check few parameters also. So before conducting the consolidation test, the initial voids was 0.82. So after applying the load, after final consolidation, void ratio has reduced. అదే కదా చెప్తున్నాము, once you apply load, void ratio increases. అందుకోసమే 0.62 అయిపోయింది. ఇనిషియల్ గా 0.82 ఉండిందంట, ఇప్పుడు 0.62 అయిపోయింది. Okay, so your void ratio is decreasing. Okay. Shall we move on to the next question? Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
This is over. What? We'll see this problem. So this problem is an easy problem, but okay, oka trick icharu. We'll do the problem. I will tell you what the trick is. As the soil profile at a site up to a depth of 10 meter is shown in the figure. The figure is not drawn to scale. The soil is preloaded with a uniform surcharge of Q is equal to 70 kilonewton per meter square at the ground level. Water table is at the depth of 3 meter below ground level. The soil has unit weight of respective layers is as shown in the figure. Consider the unit weight of water as 9.81 kilonewton per meter cube. Assume that the surcharge Q is applied instantaneously. So here a clay layer is there, and at the top you have sand layer, and followed by silty clay and boulder clay. And since clay strata is there followed by sand layer, they have gone for preloading technique. And they are asking you to calculate how much is the effective stress at the point P and Q given as in the figure. Okay. So general గా మీ సర్చార్జ్ అప్లై చేసేదాని వల్ల మీ ఎఫెక్టివ్ స్ట్రెస్ ఏమయ్యిద్ది? What happens to your effective stress whenever any load which is acting in the downward direction is applied to the soil?
Increases, ma'am.
It increases actually. Okay. సో అప్పుడు మీరు యాక్చువల్గా ఈ ప్రాబ్లం ఎలా స్టార్ట్ చేస్తారంటే, so you will be adding the surcharge and then you will be calculating the effective stress, right? So if you calculate the total stress, what will you do? You will be considering the surcharge. కానీ ఇక్కడ ట్విస్ట్ ఏంటంటే, they told the soil is preloaded. Preloaded అంటే ఏంటి? Previously the load was applied so as to ensure consolidation or whatever phenomena. Now the load is not existing. Okay, so preloaded with 70 kilonewton per meter square. So after that they removed that load. So generally they do this work to do consolidation. Okay, so preloading is a kind of or a method of improving the clay soil. So if they do not do this preloading, అప్పుడు ఏమయ్యిద్దంటే సాయిల్ మీ బిల్డింగ్ కొత్తగా కన్స్ట్రక్ట్ చేసేటప్పుడు సెటిల్ అవ్వడానికి స్టార్ట్ చేసింది. In order to avoid that, what people at the site will do is, so before constructing the actual building itself, they apply the equivalent load on the site. So they may even use some sandbags or something, and then they will do this preloading technique. So me building equivalent pressure vachelaga, they will be applying some load to the ground, and then what they do is the soil will consolidate. So they will leave it as such for 2 months or 3 months based on the method they were following, and then they will leave the site as such. So whatever the clay layer present over here will start settling. So after achieving the final settlement, what they do is they will come and remove all this arrangement. ఇవన్నీ ఏమంటే sandbags. There are different methods to do preloading. So this method of using sandbag is one method. So they'll remove all the sandbags. అప్పుడు ఏమైందంటే your site have undergone full primary consolidation. So after that, if you construct your building, the building will not settle. So it will be in a safer condition. So here, whatever the surcharge they have applied is a preload. So they have removed it now. So now they are asking you to calculate effective stress at the point P and Q. So for calculating effective stress, first what will we calculate? First ఏం calculate చేస్తాము? Hello. You have to calculate total stress minus pore water pressure. So first you calculate for the at point P. Hello, you guys there? So for total stress calculation for the point P, just to take 3 into water table is at the point P only, so there is no influence of water table, into 18 is equal to how much? 54, right? 54 kilonewton per meter square, and your pore water pressure is 0, so your effective stress is equal to 54 kilonewton per meter square. So if you are damn sure about this answer, you can now itself pick up the option D. So కానీ మీకు డౌట్ ఉంది, సపోజ్ 2 options are given with 54, అప్పుడు ఏం చేయాలి? అప్పుడు క్యూది కూడా క్యాల్కులేట్ చేసి దాని తర్వాత కన్ఫర్మ్ చేసుకుంటాం. Okay, so your total stress at the point Q we will see now. So at Q, so sigma Q equal to, as usual, 3 into 18 plus, this is underneath the water table, so I need to consider the saturated unit weight, which is 20 into 4. How much is this? 54 plus 80 gives me 134, right? 134 kilonewton per meter square. Now, tell me how much is the pore water pressure. So, water table is at the depth of 3 meter below ground level. Appudu Q ki enta mandi water table to height enta? Head at which your water table is acting 4 meter, right? So, on day told, consider unit weight of water as 9.81. So, 9.81 into 4 gives me, what's the value?
39.24.
39.24. So tell me how much is your at the point Q? 134 minus 39.24 is
94.76.
94.76.
94.76, which is approximately equal to 95 and తీసుకోవచ్చా? So which is approximately equal to 95 kilonewton per meter square. So అప్పుడు ఇక్కడ మెయిన్ గా చూడాల్సింది ఏంటి? The soil is preloaded, so you should not take this surcharge. Instead, if they mention it as only uniform surcharge, then you have to take this 70 also. Okay.